solve each equation and check the solution. So the first thing we need to do with this problem is to write it in standard form. So remember, we want it to look like ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0 so that we can factor it to solve it. So what I need to do is I need to move this 15 to the left-hand side, and I also need to move this 8x to the left-hand side. So I'm going to move the 8x first, and I get x squared, do the same thing on both sides. So x squared minus 8x is equal to negative 15. Now I'm going to move the negative 15 to the other side also. So the opposite of subtracting 15 would be adding 15. And what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. So then we end up with x squared minus 8x plus 15 is equal to 0. So remember that when you're writing it in standard form, it has to be in descending order. So we have a 2 and then a 1, and then the constant's always 0. Okay, so the next step is we need to factor this trinomial. So we use one of the techniques that we've discussed earlier to factor this. This trinomial happens to have a coefficient of 1. So when we have a coefficient of 1, we can use the x puzzle. So we draw our x, we put the middle term in the top of my x, and we put the last term in the bottom of my x. So what I'm looking for here is two numbers that add up to negative 8, so they have to add up, and they need to multiply to positive 15. So we can see that if I do a negative 3 and a negative 5, negative 3 plus a negative 5 gives you the negative 8 at the top, and negative 3 times a negative 5 gives you the bottom 15, the positive 15 here. So then all we have to do now is set our parentheses, and we get x, because it's in terms of x, minus 3, so this number goes there, and then x minus 5, so this number we put here. But remember, this one's equal to 0. So when something's equal to 0, we need to use the zero factor property. So that states that either one of the factors or the other factor or both factors are equal to 0. So what that means to us is that means that we need to set each of the factors equal to 0 and solve. So we set x minus 3 equal to 0 and x minus 5 equal to 0. So we're solving for x. So we undo what's being done. So the opposite of subtracting 3 would be adding 3. So we add 3 to both sides, and we get x is equal to 3. That's our first problem, or solution, excuse me. Okay, let's solve the next one. Oops. Okay. Sorry about that. So now we're going to go plus 5 plus 5. So we get x is equal to 5. So that's our other answer, x is equal to 5. Okay, now this problem also is asking us to check to make sure that it's correct. So what we need to do now is substitute x equal to 3 into the original equation. So wherever I see an x, I'm going to put a 3. So we get 3 squared, is that equal to negative 15 plus 8 times 3? So we get 9, is that equal to negative 15 plus 24? And we can see that that's true. 24 minus 15 gives us the 9. Okay, and then the other one that we need to check is the x is equal to 5. So we put 5 squared, is that equal to negative 15 plus 8 times 5? So 8 times 5 is 40. 40 minus 15, that gives us the 25, because 5 squared is equal to 25. So we can see that both of these work. So the answer to this problem is x is equal to 3 and x is equal to 5.